Hashtag YouTube AI/Tech News Intro. Microsoft just declared war on OpenAI, and that's just the beginning. Today we're breaking down 7 massive stories reshaping tech: Microsoft's aggressive pivot, Zuckerberg's bold AI prediction, the US humanoid ban, Copilot's super app launch, Qualcomm's price hike, Xbox's revenue collapse, and OpenAI's mysterious new project. Stick around because one of these announcements could fundamentally change how you use AI by next month. Microsoft is openly competing with OpenAI, Anthropic more than ever. Microsoft just made a power move that fundamentally reshapes the AI landscape, and honestly, it's about time. For years, the company has been playing second fiddle to OpenAI and Anthropic, licensing their models and building on top of their technology. But on Wednesday, Microsoft threw down the gauntlet, revealing it's been quietly developing its own homegrown AI models and infrastructure. They even showcased a direct competitor to what's become the industry standard. This isn't just corporate posturing, this is a company that's tired of depending on others and ready to control its own destiny in the AI race. What makes this move so significant is the business reality behind it. Microsoft has been pouring billions into partnerships, but those deals come with constraints, revenue sharing, and strategic limitations. By developing proprietary models, they're betting they can build something just as capable while keeping all the profits and maintaining complete control over their product roadmap. The company pitched this aggressively to Wall Street, signaling they're not just dabbling in AI, they're committed to long-term dominance. This is the kind of vertical integration play that Microsoft has executed before, and when they commit to it, they usually succeed. The broader implications are massive for the entire tech ecosystem. We're entering an era where the major tech companies aren't just competing on applications or services anymore, they're competing on the fundamental AI models themselves. This could fragment the market, leading to different AI ecosystems rather than a unified standard. For consumers and businesses, that means more choice but also more complexity. For OpenAI and Anthropic, it means their first-mover advantage is being challenged by a company with virtually unlimited resources. The AI revolution is entering its next phase, and Microsoft just signaled they're playing to win. Mark Zuckerberg predicts that billions of people will have personal AI agents in 5 years. Mark Zuckerberg just made a bold prediction that could reshape how billions of people interact with technology. Personal AI agents will become as common as smartphones within 5 years. This isn't some distant sci-fi fantasy. Meta is already dumping billions into the infrastructure to make it happen, and Zuckerberg is essentially betting the company's future on this vision becoming reality. Here's why this matters. We're talking about AI assistants that don't just answer questions or set reminders. These would be genuinely intelligent agents that understand your preferences, anticipate your needs, and handle complex tasks on your behalf. Imagine an AI that manages your schedule, negotiates with other AIs, handles your finances, or even represents you in digital spaces. The technical challenge is enormous, but Meta's massive investment in data centers and AI compute suggests they believe they can crack it. The business opportunity is even bigger if Zuckerberg is right. Whoever controls these personal agents controls the gateway to how people access information, make decisions, and spend money online. The broader implications are genuinely transformative. We could be looking at a fundamental shift in how the internet works, moving from platforms we visit to agents that act on our behalf. But there's a flip side worth considering: concentration of power, privacy concerns, and the question of whether a handful of tech companies should control the AI systems that mediate our daily lives. Zuckerberg's 5-year timeline is aggressive, maybe even unrealistic, but the direction he's pointing toward is almost certainly where technology is heading. The real question isn't whether personal AI agents are coming, it's who gets to build them and what that means for the rest of us. US government bans new foreign-made humanoids, robot dogs, and solar inverters, citing risks to national security. The US government just threw down a major gauntlet in the tech world, and this move could reshape the entire robotics and clean energy landscape for years to come. Starting now, American companies can no longer import new humanoid robots, robot dogs, or solar inverters from foreign manufacturers, with the ban squarely targeting China's dominance in these markets. This isn't some obscure regulatory footnote, this is a direct shot across the bow of the global supply chain, and it signals that Washington is treating advanced robotics and energy infrastructure as critical national security assets. The timing matters too, because we're at this inflection point where humanoid robots are finally becoming viable commercial products, not just research projects, and suddenly the government is saying Americans can't buy them from abroad. Here's the technical reality underneath all this: China currently controls somewhere around 70 to 80% of the global humanoid robot market and absolutely dominates solar inverter manufacturing. These aren't just gadgets or commodity products. Solar inverters are the brains of solar panel systems, converting DC power to AC, and they're increasingly connected to the grid and potentially vulnerable to remote manipulation. Humanoid robots represent the cutting edge of AI integration with physical systems, and the concern is that embedded surveillance or control mechanisms could theoretically be weaponized. From a pure business standpoint, this ban essentially forces American companies to either develop domestic alternatives or partner with allied nations, which will be expensive and time-consuming. The broader implications are genuinely significant. We're watching the tech world splinter into competing ecosystems, much like we saw with semiconductors and 5G. This ban accelerates the decoupling of American and Chinese tech supply chains, which means higher costs for consumers in the short term but potentially more resilient domestic industries in the long term. It also sets a precedent that any technology touching AI, robotics, or critical infrastructure could face similar restrictions. For startups and established tech companies, this means the era of cheap, globally sourced components is ending, and the future belongs to those who can build advanced technology domestically or within trusted allied networks. Whether you think this is smart policy or economic protectionism, one thing's certain: the geopolitical competition for technological supremacy just entered a new, more restrictive phase. Microsoft confirms Copilot super app coming this year. Microsoft just dropped a bombshell that could reshape how we interact with AI every single day. The company is launching a Copilot super app this year that's going to be way more than just a chatbot. We're talking about a unified platform that merges chat capabilities, coding tools, and autonomous agents all into one experience for both regular consumers and businesses. This isn't just another incremental update. This is Microsoft betting that the future of AI isn't scattered across a dozen different apps, but consolidated into one intelligent companion you'll actually want to use. Here's why this matters. Right now, AI tools are fragmented. You use ChatGPT for writing, maybe Claude for analysis, specialized coding assistants for programming, and separate automation tools for workflows. Microsoft's strategy is to eliminate that friction by creating a single entry point that does all of it. CEO Satya Nadella framed it perfectly. Copilot is evolving from simple chat into what he calls co-work and autopilots, meaning it's not just answering questions anymore, it's actively working alongside you and automating complex tasks. That's a fundamental shift in how AI assistants function. The broader implication here is that we're entering a new phase of AI competition. This isn't about who has the smartest model anymore, it's about who can build the most seamless, integrated experience that becomes indispensable to your daily life. Microsoft has advantages here: deep integration with Windows, Office, and enterprise infrastructure. But this super app strategy also signals that the company sees AI becoming less of a novelty and more of essential infrastructure. If they pull this off, we could see a future where your AI assistant isn't something you open occasionally, it's woven into everything you do, from creative work to coding to automating your entire workflow. That's genuinely transformative, and it's coming sooner than you think. Qualcomm is raising phone chip prices starting September 1st. Your smartphone is about to get a lot more expensive, and Qualcomm just made it official. The chip giant announced that starting September 1st, they're raising prices across their entire processor lineup, and this isn't some minor adjustment we're talking about. This is a sweeping price increase that's going to ripple through the entire smartphone industry, affecting every major manufacturer from Apple to Samsung to everyone in between. When Qualcomm moves, the entire market moves with it, so this decision matters far more than just one company's quarterly earnings. Here's what's really happening behind the scenes. Qualcomm dominates the smartphone processor market with their Snapdragon chips, controlling roughly 80% of Android devices globally. They've got leverage, and they're using it. The company is citing increased manufacturing costs and the massive investments required to stay competitive in AI-powered chips as justification for the hike. We're in an era where every processor needs to handle advanced machine learning tasks, from on-device AI assistants to real-time image processing, and that complexity doesn't come cheap. Qualcomm is essentially saying they need more revenue to fund the next generation of innovation. But here's where it gets interesting for consumers. This price increase doesn't happen in a vacuum. We're already dealing with expensive flagship phones, and now manufacturers face a choice: absorb these costs and cut into their margins, or pass them directly to you at checkout. Most will do both. We're looking at phones that could easily jump another $50 to $100 in the coming months. Combined with other component costs rising across the industry, we might be witnessing a fundamental shift in smartphone pricing that could push premium devices well beyond the $1,500 mark. The real question is whether consumers will keep paying, or if this finally becomes the breaking point where people start holding onto their phones longer. Xbox revenue drops 10% as Microsoft and #8217's cloud and AI business surges. Xbox is officially in trouble, and Microsoft's latest earnings report just confirmed what we've all been sensing for months. Gaming revenue dropped 10%, hardware sales fell 13%, and the company is quietly pivoting its entire strategy away from traditional console gaming. But here's the thing that actually matters: while Xbox bleeds money, Microsoft's cloud and AI divisions are absolutely exploding. This isn't just a bad quarter for gaming, it's a fundamental shift in how one of the world's biggest tech companies sees its future. Let's be clear about what's happening under the hood. The gaming industry itself isn't dying, but the traditional console model is becoming less relevant to Microsoft's bottom line. Game Pass subscriptions are struggling, which is shocking considering it was supposed to be the Netflix of gaming. Meanwhile, their cloud infrastructure and AI services are generating revenue at rates that make the gaming division look like pocket change. Microsoft has been investing billions into AI infrastructure, partnerships with OpenAI, and enterprise cloud solutions, and those bets are finally paying off in ways that gaming simply cannot match anymore. The broader implication here is massive. We're watching a major tech giant consciously choose artificial intelligence and cloud computing over gaming, even though gaming is a cultural juggernaut worth hundreds of billions globally. This signals where the real money and innovation are flowing in 2026. If Microsoft, a company that literally defined console gaming with the original Xbox, is deprioritizing hardware and shifting resources toward AI, every other tech company is probably thinking the same thing. The question isn't whether gaming will survive, it's whether traditional gaming hardware will remain relevant when AI and cloud services are where the actual growth is happening. OpenAI president says it in hashtag 8217, S in hashtag 8216, building a family of devices in hashtag 8217, for its AI chatbots. OpenAI just confirmed what we've all been waiting to hear, they're building hardware. Not one device, but an entire family of them, and that changes everything about how we're going to interact with AI in our daily lives. Greg Brockman, OpenAI's president, dropped this bombshell in a recent interview, and while he stayed coy about the specifics, the implications are massive. We're looking at a future where ChatGPT isn't just something you pull up on your phone or computer, but something that's embedded in physical devices throughout your home and beyond. Here's why this matters. Right now, AI chatbots are still tethered to screens. You need a device, you need to open an app or browser, you need to be intentional about the interaction. But a family of devices changes that equation entirely. We're talking about smart speakers, displays, maybe wearables, anything that puts conversational AI directly into the moments and spaces where you actually live. OpenAI is essentially saying they're not content being a software company anymore. They want to be the operating system of your physical world, the way you naturally talk to technology without friction. The timing is interesting too. We're seeing this move happen across the entire AI industry right now. Google has their hardware ecosystem, Amazon's been betting on Alexa for years, and Apple's about to make their own AI play. But OpenAI's advantage is that they've got the best conversational model on the planet right now. If they can translate that into hardware that actually works seamlessly, they could leapfrog everyone else. The question isn't whether these devices are coming, they're coming. The question is whether OpenAI can execute on the hardware side better than the software side, and whether people actually want ChatGPT following them everywhere they go. Thanks for staying updated with Neural Brief. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss tomorrow's biggest tech stories. See you next time.